So hello and welcome to this Adobe Animate tutorial. Today we are going to be writing JavaScript and I am going to show you Splice. Splice is something which allows you to manipulate arrays, and basically I am going to have a grid of shapes like so, and I am going to generate 5 random numbers, and I am going to have 5 shapes selected like so. So every time I am going to refresh, it is going to choose some different shapes. The point of this tutorial is that I am making another tutorial and I am going to show you, which is this kind of memory game. And in this memory game, I am basically going to have shapes generated like so, and then I am going to be able to click on them when they are not going to be visible anymore like so. And in this game, I am going to be using this splice, and this splice can be a little bit, complicated at the beginning. So I am going to, when I make this tutorial for the game, I am going to referring to this tutorial about the splice. But yeah, in this tutorial, we are just going to be generating these shapes. We are not going to create the whole game. When the game is going to be ready, I will put also a link for the game. But yeah. Also, one thing that I want to say is that I am not a professional with the JavaScript yet. I am still learning, so keep that in mind. There may be some better ways to do this. I am still learning. My tutorials hopefully are just going to be only better and better. But yeah, I am in the Adobe Animate and I'm going to create some documents, so I can go with 500 by 500. For example, I want this to be HTML5 canvas, and I am simply going to click create. Now, before we will go with the shapes, we are going to start with simple console.logs, so I can explain this little bit. So I will just go to my layer 1 on the first frame. I will right click, I will choose actions, and I'm going to create some array. We have option for the variables let or const. You can use both, but usually for arrays we go with const. But yeah, because we don't change them, we don't ridicule them, but yeah, const names, for example, is going to be equal, and in the brackets and in the quotation marks, I'm going to put like Martin, for example, then comma, then Jane, then comma, then I'm going to go with Peter, then comma, and then I'm going to go with Monica. You can choose any names, any array, anything, but yeah. So basically I'm going to have an array, and it is going to contain 4 elements for names. I can go ahead and console.log names, and we will see what we are going to have. So I'm going to console.log names. I will go with Control Enter, Command Enter to see this in the browser. We don't have anything in here, that's not the point, but I will go to the console, so I can go with F12 or right click, inspect. So you should go like this and go to the console. And in the console, I am going to have array, and if I'm going to open this, I'm going to have Martin, Jane, Peter, and Monica. Okay. Now, I will very briefly, this tutorial is not about those, but we have some things like push, pop, shift, unshift, and those are if we want to add or remove something at the beginning or at the end of the array. So for example, I have array like this, and I would like to add something at the end of the array, some other name. I can go names.push, and I can push, for example, in the quotation marks, Victor, like so. And right now we are going to have array which is going to contain 5 things, and Victor is going to be at the end. Control Enter, and basically this is what we are going to have. We are going to have Victor in here. Then I accidentally, no, okay, I thought that I was opening my After Effects, but yeah. Then we can delete at the end of the array, so I can go names.pop. When you have pop, you don't put anything in here because you are just removing. So right now we are going to remove Monica. So I will go with Control Enter, Command Enter, and right now we are not going to have Monica, okay? And in the same way we can add or remove something at the beginning of the array. This push and pop, it's easy to remember. Shift, unshift can be a little bit confusing, but we have names.unshift like so, and this is going to add something. One would say that unshift is going to remove, but yeah, that's how it is. So I can go names.unshift Victor, and we are going to have Victor at the beginning of the array like so, or I could go names.shift like so. When we go with shift, we are removing, so we do not need to put, or we do not want to put anything in here. And right now names.shift, we are going to get rid of the Martin like so, and yeah. So when we are going to use Splice, we are going to use Splice if we want to add or remove. In this tutorial, we are going to be talking specifically about the removing something from the array which is not at the beginning and which is not at the end. So I would like to, for example, remove Jane, or I would like to add something in here, or I would like to remove Peter, you know? So for that, we are going to use Splice, and it goes like this. I'm going to type names, and I'm going to go with dot, and I'm going to type Splice, and in here we are going to put two values. If we are going to add something, we are going to go with 3 values, but when we are removing, I will show you all of this, we are going to go with 2 values. The first value is the index where we are going to start to removing. So arrays are 0 based, so this is index 0, this is index 1, this is index 2, and this is index 3. So yeah, I could console.log, let me comment this out, I can console.log names of 0, for example, and it is going to be Martin, but yeah, I am not going to show you that 3 is going to be Monica, but yeah, I will get rid of this like so. But the first number is where we want to start to remove. So we want to remove Jane. Jane is index, Martin is 0, Jane is 1. So we want to start from number 1. And how many elements do we want to remove? Okay, we can remove right now more elements. We could remove Jane and Peter. We could remove Jane, Peter, and Monica. But if we want to remove only Jane, we are going to start at index 1. Then we are going to go with comma, and we are going to remove 1 element. Okay, so something like this, and I will go with Control Enter, Command Enter, and we are going to say goodbye to Jane. Okay. Now, imagine that we want to remove Peter. So, Peter is on the index number 2, you know, 0, 1, 2. So, we want to start from the index number 2, and we want to remove 1 element. So, right now we are going to remove Peter like so. Okay, he is not here anymore. And I will just show you, this is not something that we will use in this tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to be removing only 1 element, but I can go that I want to start from number 1, which is going to be Jane, and I want to remove 2 elements, which is going to be Jane and Peter. So I'm going to type that I'm going to remove 2 elements basically, and this is what we are going to have. Bye-bye, Jane and Peter. Okay. Now, very quickly, I will show you, because you may use this also in other way, that with the Splice, we can also add something. So imagine that we would like to add something between Martin and Jane. We want to put something on the index 1, and we are going to move everything somewhere. So imagine that in here, we want to, like so, add Victor, okay? Like so, we are just adding Victor and removing him, but yeah. So what we can do is we can type that name Splice. On the index 1, we want to remove 0 elements, comma, but we want to add one element, and that's going to be Victor, like so. So right now we are going to put simply Victor on the index number 1, and Jane is going to be on the index number 2. Or what we could do, but I am not going to do more with this. We can, for example, go that names.splice1. We are going to start at the index 1. We are going to remove one element. We are going to remove Jane, and we are going to add there Victor. Or we could potentially remove Jane and Peter, and we could add in there Victor. But let's go with 1, 1. So we are going to start at 1. We are going to remove 1, which is going to Jane, and we are going to basically replace it with Victor, Control Enter, and this is what we are going to have. We are not going to have Jane, we are going to have Victor. So this was a little bit theoretical what is Splice, and yeah, basically I am going to delete this, and we are going to do something practical. We will also use in this tutorial random number, and I will have to show you, and also for the loop. We cannot do this without it, but yeah. Now I am going to go to the rectangle tool. I am going to get rid of the stroke, and I am going to choose only fill, and I am going to with the shift create a shape like so. I don't mind how big it is, so some shape, you know. Now I am going to convert this shape to the symbol, so I will click on this. I will go to the modify, convert to symbol, and I can call this to be, for example, blue shape, like so. Make sure that it is movie clip. This name is not that important. You can make this undefined or whatever it was by default, and I'm going to click OK. Now what is going to be important is going to be the instance name. So I will click on this. There is this shape, movie clip, and instance name. I'm going to call this to be blue one. Now I'm going to duplicate this couple of times. So I'm going to hold Alt or Option to duplicate it like so. And I'm going to hold Shift to stay on the same line, but that's not that important, like so. And I'm going to duplicate it one more time with Alt or Option and Shift. And I can right now select everything and duplicate it like so and duplicate it like so. Okay, I am not going to be worrying about aligning. That's not the point. Okay, so this is blue one. But these, all of them are still blue one. So one by one I will change them. So I will click on the second one, and this is going to be blue number 2. This one is going to be blue number 3, and yeah. Maybe I should have go with only 6 shapes or something, but I decided that I will go with 9 because we can see this little bit better. So basically right now I will have to manually type that blue 1 up to blue 9, and right now I am making blue 8, and this is going to be blue 9, like so. You can have any color of the shapes or anything, but yeah. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new layer where is going to be my code, and yeah. So I am going to right click, and I'm going to choose actions. One thing, let me actually delete this. You may accidentally have your code in here. Right click, actions, this blah 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 something. You may have accidentally your code in here, you know, in that case, but this is only if you have something like this. What I would do is I would select everything, I would right click, I would choose distribute to layers. Right now my code would be, you know, separated, and then I can click on all of the shapes in here, and I can right click, and I can choose merge layers. Where are you? Here, okay, because the code should be like separated, but yeah, I am going to have this like so. So hope this was only for someone who accidentally or somehow have this like so, but I have my layers on my shapes on one layer, and I'm going to create a new layer which is going to be code, and I'm going to right click, and I'm going to choose actions, and I am going to create an array. So one more time I'm going to go with const, and I'm going to call it to be my blues, and I'm going to make it an array, and I'm going to type this dot blue one comma, and I will have to put all of them. If you don't know why we have to type this, we have to type this because this refers to like this timeline. So basically we are going like this timeline blue 1, this timeline blue 2. I have a tutorial about keyword this, I can put it in the description, but I cannot explain it more in this tutorial. But yeah, so I'm going to create an array like so, and now I can be, you maybe can be zoomed out like so. I am going to be zoomed in, but I am going to go to new line. So I am going to have this blue 1, this blue 2, this blue 3, comma. I will go with enter, but make sure that you have the comma correctly, and I will go this blue 4, comma, and I want to have 5, and I want to have 6, and I want to have 7, and I can go to new line, and I can have 8, and I can have 9. Okay, the last one you do not want to have comma in here because you would have an error, probably, I guess, I don't know, but you don't want to have it like so. So basically I am going to have an array which is going to contain all of my stuff, and in between of them there should be a comma. The space in here doesn't really matter, but the comma is important. So yeah, I am going to right now just console.log my blues. So I'm going to type console.log my blues, and I'm going to go with Control Enter, Command Enter, and basically I'm going to have array which is going to have 9 elements, and if I'm going to open it, I'm going to have library blue shape, library blue shape, and yeah. So as we saw, arrays are 0 based. So what I can do is I can type my blues of index 0, and I am going to set that alpha, which is opacity, is going to be equal to be 0.5, which is 50% opacity, and I'm going to go with Control Enter, and we are going to change this one. Okay, we will slowly get to the splice, but I cannot just magically make it, so I will have to go there. So yeah, I showed you already theoretically splice, but yeah. So arrays are 0 base, so this is index 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, this is 7, this is 8, okay? This can be a little bit confusing that you have number 1, this blue 1, but it's 0, this blue 2 is 1, but yeah. But what I want to say is that the last element is going to have index 8, okay? When you have 9 elements and they are 0 based, and this is 0, the last one is going to be simply 8. So when I'm going to go my blues 8, alpha is going to be equal to be 0.5. Then we are going to change the last one. Okay, now let's go with the for loop, because we will have to use for loop anyway later on. So I'm going to type for let I is going to be equal to be 0. While I is going to be smaller than 9, and I plus plus, and parentheses, this curvy parentheses, and yeah. Basically for loop is going to start from 0, and it will go until I is going to be smaller than 9, so it will go from 0 to 8. It's not going to go to 0.9, it would go to 0.9 if we have small or equal, but we have it like so, so it will go from 0.8, you know. So yeah, so right now what I could do is I can console.log I, for example, and we are going to have console.log 0 to 8, or I can console.log hello, and we are going to hello 9 times, okay, because from 0, you know, but yeah. But what I can do is I can simply go my blues of I is the alpha is going to be equal to be 0.5, and right now we are going to change the alpha for all of the shape. Now what we are going to do is we are going to delete this, okay, why not, and we are going to generate a random number between 0 and 8, because this is index 8, and we are going to change the random shape, okay, basically. So I'm going to type let random n is going to be equal to math.random, and yeah, the m in here, it has to be capital. It doesn't need to be capital, but you will have an error, so it has to be capital. Math.random, this cannot be capital, so it has to be like so. Let random n is equal math.random with the parentheses like so. Semicolons are optional in the JavaScript, and yeah, and I can console.log random n. I will have to but I will have to explain little bit the random n, how we are going to get this. But yeah, so I will go with Control Enter, Command Enter, and I am going to have some kind of number. This number is going to be between 0 and 1, and it's going to be always something like 0 point, you know, some noise, you know. And what we want to do is we want to get random number from 0 to 8. So what I'm going to do is I am going to go with math.random, and I am going to multiply this by 9, okay? And I will go with Control Enter, and I will go with F12, and we are going to have something like this. Why by 9? Because in the console I can type that if I am going to have generated random number, which is going to be 0 point something like this, 987 something, and I'm going to multiply this by 9, we are going to have 8 point something. You cannot have more than 9, because if you are going to have 0.999999999 and you are going to multiply it by 9, you are still going to have 8 point something. And on the other side, if we are going to have random number which is going to be 0.00 something, for example, and we are going to multiply this by 9, we are going to still have 0 point something, okay? But yeah. And now what we need to do, if you don't understand this math.random, you need to, you know, find it on your own or use ChatGPT or something. But now I am going to go math.floor like so, and I'm going to put everything to the math.floor like so. So everything in here, math.random multiplied by 9 is going to be inside of the math.floor. And math.floor simply is going to get rid of the decimals. So if I'm going to have 8 point something, it is going to make this simply 8. If I'm going to have 0 point something, it is going to make it 0. So yeah, basically we have a random number between 0 and 8. And now we can console.log that random number, and what we can do is we can type that my blues, okay, my blues of random n, okay, my blues of random n, the alpha of this is going to be equal to 0.5. I will go with Control Enter, Command Enter, and yeah, okay, we have 0. I'm going to refresh. We are going to have 7, and yeah, I'm going to close the console. Just one thing to see. I'm going to refresh, and right now I know that this is number 0. I'm going to refresh, and I know that this is 1. F12, this is 1, you know, so yeah, let me refresh one more time, okay, so this one, I know that this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, so this is going to be random number, which is going to be 4, okay, fine. Now, what we want to do is we want to generate multiple random numbers. Okay, what we are going to do is we are going to create a for loop, so one more time, for, and we are going to go let I is going to be equal to be 0, while I is going to be smaller than 3, for example. So it is going to loop 3 times, because it's going to be like when I is 0, when I is 1, when I is 2, okay? I is not going to be 3, because we would have to have this smaller or equal, but yeah, hopefully makes sense. And let me get rid of this, because I will have error if I keep it. And yeah, I++. I++ means +1 every time, but yeah. And basically, now in this loop, what I can do is I can, for now, let me comment this out, and I am just going to cut this, and I am going to paste it in here like so. With tab, I can move this, but basically, I am going to have for loop, which is going to happen 3 times. and 3 times I am going to generate a random number, and I am going to console.log random number. So I'm going to go with Control Enter like so, and we are going to have, let me see, let me go one more time, Control Enter. Why do I have 4 numbers? 7, 6, 5, 8. Okay, because I kept it. I was wondering why I have 4 numbers, because I have this smaller or equal. Okay, let me get rid of this. We want to have this like so. At least right now you have seen. I was confused for a second, but I will go with Control Enter. And I'm going to have 7, 1, 0. Okay, I can refresh. I'm going to have 2, 8, 3. Okay, fine, great. Now what I can do is I can put this line of code. I am going to cut it, and let me get rid of this, and I'm going to put it in here. So I'm going to make that my blues of random n alpha is going to be equal to 0.5. Control Enter. There is issue, you know. Let me refresh this. Come on. Okay, so we are going to have 0, so it is going to change this one. We are going to have 2, it is going to change this one. We are going to have 5, it is going to change this one. I will refresh. Now we have issue because we have random number 8 2 times, and it is going to change only 2 shapes. Okay, I will refresh. Now we are going to have 3 because we have different random numbers. But as soon as random number is going to repeat, you know, as we have seen, we are going to have this like so. It will be more visible if I change this to 5. So 5 times we are going to generate random number and change my blues and so on. I will go with Control Enter, and barely or rarely we are going to have 5 different numbers. We have 1, okay, we have 7, but we have again 1, and we have 2, and we have again 2. So we have changed only 3. Right now we have changed 4 because we have 5, which is 5 times and here. But what if I want to every time have 5? Okay, every time have 5 shapes which are going to change. Okay, we can make this very simply, but it won't be maybe that simple to explain. Okay, let's change one thing. We are making random number and we are multiplying it by 9. Okay, we would like to multiply it by the length of my blues. Okay, let me go in here. Let me for the moment I will go with slash and asterisk and slash. It is going to comment all of the code, and I am just going to have my array, and I am going to console.log my blues of length like so. Okay, so we have this from index 0 to index 8, but the length is like how many things are in there, and this need to be capital like so. What is the length of this array? And basically the length of this array is 9. Okay, so I am going to have console.log 9. So I am going to uncomment my code. I want to, instead of typing in here 9, have my blues length. You will see later on why we want to have this. But for now, if I'm going to make it like so, it is still going to be the same thing. You know, we are multiplying this by 9. So we are going to have random number from 0 to 8. And for now, nothing is going to change. Only thing right now that I need to do is I need to type that my blues.splice, and what we want to splice is random n like so, and we want to splice one element. And right now every time I am going to have 5 shapes, even though my numbers are going to be repeating. Okay, every time I'm going to have 5. But you probably have no idea, maybe some of you have, why. Okay, so the solution was very easy, but right now you need to put an attention because it's not complicated, but you need to put attention a little bit. Okay, Let me, for the moment, just for the demonstration, copy all of this array. So I will go with Control C, and I will go in here, Control V. So this is going to, I should comment this out, but this is just for the demonstration. So imagine right now that we are going to have this for loop, and we are going to go with the first loop. Okay, we are going to generate random number from 0 to 8, because we are multiplying this by length of my blues, which is 9. And let's say that we are going to generate random number, the first one, which is going to be 3. Okay, so we have generated random number, which is going to be 3. We are going to console.log number 3. And which one is number 3? This is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3. Okay, so it is going to be this blue 4, which would be, you know, this one shape, but yeah. And we are going to say that my blues of random n of like number 3, alpha is going to be 0.5, you know. So this one we are going to change the alpha. Okay, and then I have the splice, so I'm going to say my blues splice. We are going to splice from random n, we are going to splice from number 3, and we are going to splice one element, okay? Which means that my blue splice random n, which is right now 3, this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, we are going to completely remove this like so, okay? So after the first loop, this element is no longer there. You know, I had to play with the commas right now, but in here we do not have to. But we are with the splice completely going to remove the element that we have changed the alpha from the array. So no longer can we target the element. Okay. Right now we are going to go with the second loop in the loop, but right now my blues is going to have one less element. This is going to be index 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6, and this is 7. Okay, so right now I do not want to generate random number from 0 to 8. I want to generate random number from 0 to 7. But I do not need to do anything because my blues.length has changed. It has changed because we have removed something. So right before the length was 9, and right now the length is going to be 8. Okay, so the first loop we have in here like 9, and right now that's generating random number from 0 to 8. And after the second loop, after we remove from the array, we are going to have this, which is going to be 8. So we are going to generate random number from 0 to 7. Okay. Hopefully makes sense. If not, try to think about it. But yeah. So yeah. Imagine right now that we are going to have the second loop, and one more time we are going to generate random number, which is going to be 3. Okay, not 33, only 3. So this is index 0, this is index 1, this is index 2, this is index 3. Okay, so right now index 3 is not referring to this blue 4 because that was removed from the array, but is removing this, it's referring to this blue 5, which is this one. And basically, we are going to generate number 3, we are going to console.log it, we are going to change the my blues random n, my blues 3, we are going to change the alpha, so we are going to change the alpha. On the first loop we have changed alpha of this one, then we removed it. Right now we are going to change the alpha of this one, and then one more time we are going to go my blues.splice 3, which is this one, and we are removing 1. So basically what we are going to do is we are completely going to put this element away, you know, and then we are going to one more time loop, and one more time right now we have this 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, this is 5, this is 6. Okay, so we want to generate a random number from 0 to 6, but now the length of the my blues is 7, so it's going to generate random number from 0 to 6 because we are updating the length every time. Okay, and imagine that right now we are going to generate number 4. Okay, so this is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay, so we are going to console.log number 4. We are going to my blues random n alpha 0.5. So we are going to number 7. The blue 7 is this one, so we are going to change its alpha, you know, and then we are going to go my blues.splice. We are going to splice random n, which was 4, so 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and we are going to completely remove this from the array, and yeah, and basically right now it is going to go like so. So even though I am going to go, for example, with number 7, like so, and I will go with Control Enter, every time I am going to have 7 shapes. Okay, we have the numbers are repeating. We have 3, we have 3, we have 1, we have 1, but every time we are going to have 7 shapes, like so. Okay, so basically this is it. This is all for this tutorial. There may be one thing but I won't be able to explain this in this tutorial. I will have to make specifically tutorial about the arrays. But the thing is that right now we are like completely changing the original array. If I'm going to console.log my blues in here, it is going to have 9 elements like so, and let's change this, for example, to 5. And when I'm going to console.log my blues after like so, we are going to have 4 elements. So I will go with Control Enter. So at the beginning the array is going to show me this incorrectly, but yeah, but basically it's like it's thing with animate. I should go my blues dot length, and in here my blues dot length like so. Okay, and right now in here the length was 9, and in here it is 4. Okay, let me just to demonstrate this, my blues dot length plus, you know, and something, you know, like this. So we know that this is the length, and we know that this is the length, like so. So yeah, so basically at the beginning the length of the array was 9, and right now the length of the array is 4. Okay, and what you may want to do, but I will just show you, I cannot explain it. You may want to at the beginning create some kind of duplication of your array, you know, but you cannot make that my blues copy is going to be equal to my blues. Okay, this is not the correct way of making copy of the array. I may explain this, and I won't explain this, like won't, I will in other tutorial, but this is not the correct way of making a copy. So if I want to make a copy of my blues, I can go my blues copy is going to be equal to my blues dot, and right now it's not splice, but it's slice. Maybe this can confuse you. This tutorial was already too confusing, maybe, but I just want to, you know, for someone who may be interested, show you that this is a way, not splice but slice, how you would make a copy of the array, you know, and yeah. But I am going to create a separate tutorial about the arrays, because with arrays there are some interesting stuff. But yeah, but let me at least show you that I am going to console.log, let's say here console.log, and I'm going to console.log my blues copy, like so, my blue copy, and it is going to have all of the 9 elements in there. Okay, but yeah, if you know, you know. If you don't, you don't. And we may talk about this in other tutorial, or when you are going to watch the tutorial about the game, you will see how I am going to approach this. But yeah, I just wanted to show you the splice. You can use it to generate multiple random numbers, different random numbers. You may have this like so with the shapes or anything. So yeah, let me know in the comments if this tutorial was too confusing, or if you understand this last part. You know, it will be another tutorial. I may give a link in the description when I create a tutorial about the arrays. But yeah, I'm going to finish this tutorial. Thank you very much for your time. I hope that you have learned something. I will, you know, put a link for the game when the game is ready, and I hope that you will be able to use this, understand this, and so on. Or at least you may, you know, this is not only for Adobe Animate, this is also for like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and so on. But yeah, one more time, I am, as I said, not an expert with the JavaScript. There are maybe other ways how to achieve this. This is one of the way, but yeah, I'm going to finish this. Thank you, have a nice day, and goodbye.